It's Billy from Chronically Bookish, back suddenly with another video. Didn't think I'd be filming another one today. We've just finished doing the BookTube newbie tag, and I thought, hey, why not? Let's keep this thing going. So I've got a February wrap up to do. I've got 4 books to talk about. That's less than I normally would read in a month, but I've been struggling to kind of keep the momentum going with reading, listening, and yeah, so 4 books, I mean, it's not bad at all. It's just less than I normally would read. So the first book I have to talk about is The Mortal Word by Genevieve Cogman, the 5th in the Invisible Library series. The series is about an organization called the Library that its supposed main goal is to keep order amongst all these different worlds. So it's like a multiverse type situation where you've got like worlds that are high on the order scale or high on the chaos scale. So the dragons are the ones that have the order side. What am I saying? I'm saying that the dragons basically exude order, and everything has to be practical and logical, and there can't be anything that's like, you know, oh my god, the cat is going nuts. So, yeah, so the dragons, they pride order over everything. And the Fae, they will basically become characters in a story. So they will play the villain or the princess or the king, you know, and that's sort of the archetype of their story and their own narrative. So it's like a really cool dynamic, and the library strives to keep the balance between them. And the way they do this is they send out their agents or their librarians to go and steal books from these worlds so they can strengthen the links that the library has to these worlds, therefore keeping the balance between all these different conflicting forces. So The Mortal Word is the 5th one. Can't really talk specifically, obviously, about what happens in this book because you need to read all the others. But it basically focuses on Irene and Kai, her assistant. And Irene is like crazy good librarian. So there's a lot of elements to these books. There's like mystery, there's espionage, there's a bit of thriller, there's a bit of suspense. There's the cat again. But she's total badass. She's takes no crap from anyone. She's really a great character to follow, because she's very sure of herself, you know. So that's refreshing to read about someone like that. But yeah, so these are brilliant books. I don't see a lot of people talking about them, so it'd be great to see more people reading them. Yeah, so that's that one. The next book I have is Heroes by Stephen Fry, and that is the follow-on from Mythos. So my suggestion would be to read Mythos first. You don't have to, of course, but it's just that it helps to know the mythology behind all the heroes in these books, because the heroes play, you know, parts in the gods' main stories or main myths, you know. So Heroes, again, is about Greek heroes and the stories, and so, you know, Hercules or Heracles, Jason, oh god, my mind's just gone blank, but there's a lot to this book, and the brilliant thing about Stephen Fry, his storytelling is amazing, just the way he writes, but he'll also put in a lot of facts and things that you just don't really know came from these Greek myths and legends. So it's a really fascinating read, and my family's from Greece, so that's a nice little connection that I have with these books. But yeah, so these are really, really wonderful, amazing, interesting, crazy. Like, the Greeks were nuts. Absolutely crazy to think of these things. Um, so that's Heroes by Stephen Fry. Oh, and I believe that the third in the series is going to be about the Trojan War. So you've got Mythos, and then Heroes, and then something about the Trojan War. So I'm really looking forward to reading that one. The next book I have is The Gloaming by Kirsty Logan. She's an English writer, English, and then she moved to Glasgow. And I read 2 books by her. One was The Gloaming, which I think is like a prequel to The Gracekeepers, which I haven't read yet, and I didn't realise. But it's sort of a bit of like magical realism with Scottish sort of folklore and things like that. So it's this family that moves to this very remote island where when you're about to die, you go up to the hill or the cliff and you'll turn to a stone statue. And it's like the island's a bit magical and creepy and weird, and they live in this house that they're constantly trying to fix up, but you know, it just nothing, they can never get on top of it. It's always broken down, something's always breaking. You know, they fix the door handle, it breaks again. So it's just like really weird like atmosphere to this whole island, and it like pulls people back to it and doesn't let you go. Anyway, it's really interesting, fascinating book, but mainly, other than all the sort of weird mystical parts of it, it's about a family, and a family dealing with grief. So they suffer a loss sort of fairly early on in the book, and it's how each family member will deal with that. She writes brilliantly. I've fallen absolutely in love with her writing. Plus she narrates the audiobook, and I love listening to her voice as well. I think she did a really good job with narrating. The other one that I listened to her was the Hometown Tales series. Her and Paul McQuaid did the Glasgow book. So she wrote about her, just sort of a bit of sort of a shortened version of an autobiography. So she wrote about her life in Glasgow, and her struggles with mental illness, and her father's struggles with mental illness, and the psychiatric hospital that used to be there. So that was a really, really interesting, I found that fascinating, that story of hers. So those are the 4 books that I read in February. Hope to see you soon. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.